Beloved, today is not just another Monday. Today is a day of divine appointments. A day where heaven is ready to intervene on your behalf. I want you to understand something very profound. There is a favor that cannot be bought. There is a help that cannot be earned. And there is a breakthrough that cannot be manufactured by human effort. It is a strange favor, a supernatural advantage that positions you above your challenges and sets you in places you never imagined you could be. This kind of favor is not common. It does not follow the normal course of human expectation. It is divine. It is extraordinary. And it often comes at the exact moment you need it the most. Perhaps you have prayed before and felt like nothing changed. Perhaps doors stayed closed. Opportunities seemed out of reach, or you faced obstacles that seemed insurmountable. Today, I want you to understand that God's help is already on its way, even before you finish praying. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to move through life with doors opening for them, opportunities appearing out of nowhere, and blessings following them in ways that defy explanation? That, my beloved, is what we call strange favor. It is the kind of favor that does not follow the natural rules of the world. The kind of blessings that make people wonder, how did this happen? Strange favor is supernatural. It is divine intervention in your life that positions you beyond your human limitations. It is not earned by your strength, not bought by your wealth, and not manipulated by your intelligence. It comes because God, in his infinite wisdom and mercy, has decided to open doors for you that no man can shut. You must understand that strange favor is different from ordinary blessings. Ordinary blessings are predictable. They are proportional to your effort, your work, or your merit. Strange favor, however, is disproportionate. It is beyond human calculation. It is a divine hand moving in your circumstances to elevate you, to accelerate your destiny, and to connect you with people, opportunities, and situations that are beyond your imagination. It is the reason why someone can rise from obscurity to prominence in a season where others are struggling to survive. It is the reason why a breakthrough can come when all hope seems lost. The Bible shows us examples of strange favor at work. Joseph, a young man sold into slavery by his own brothers, found favor in the eyes of Potiphar, a foreign master. That favor was not earned by his skills alone, nor by human strategy. It was a supernatural alignment that set him on a path from prison to palace. Daniel, taken into exile in a foreign land, received favor from kings and captains because God's hand was upon him. Esther became queen in a moment of divine favor that positioned her to save an entire nation. These are not just stories. They are examples of how strange favor works. Divine, inexplicable, and powerful. You may be asking yourself, how do I receive such favor? First, you must understand that favor is relational. It is not about being better than others. It is about being positioned rightly before God. Favor comes when your life aligns with his will, when your heart is pure, and when your faith is genuine. It is when you move in obedience, integrity, and humility, even when no one is watching, that strange favor begins to take root in your life. The heavens notice those who honor God with their lives, and supernatural help begins to manifest. Second, strange favor requires expectancy. Many people pray, but they do so with doubt, fear, or hesitation. When you approach God with full expectation, believing that he will act, you position yourself to receive. Faith is the catalyst for favor. Without faith, the doors of heaven remain closed. But with faith, the impossible becomes possible. When you believe that God is able to open doors that no one can close, when you trust him to bring help from unusual sources, you invite strange favor into your life. Third, strange favor often comes with divine timing. It may not happen immediately, and it may not arrive in the way you expect. You may be praying for a job, a promotion, a healing, or a relationship, and the answer may come from a direction you never anticipated. This is why patience and trust are critical. The moment you begin to understand that God's timing is perfect, that his ways are higher than your ways, you stop limiting him with human expectation. You open yourself to receive blessings that are not just good, but extraordinary. Blessings that make people marvel. Let me tell you something crucial. Strange favor also comes with influence. When God gives you favor, he does not only open doors for you, he positions you to impact others. Favor is a divine tool to extend your influence, to release your destiny, and to amplify your testimony. It is the reason why people begin to notice you, why leaders seek your counsel, why opportunities line up as if the universe itself has been rearranged for your success. Today, as you prepare your heart for prayer, I want you to declare that strange favor is coming into your life. Release every limitation, every fear, every doubt that has held you back. Speak to your destiny and say, divine favor, locate me, supernatural help, find me, doors that no man can open for me now. Understand that the hand of God is moving on your behalf, even before you lift your voice. Heaven is aligning circumstances, arranging connections, and preparing miracles that will leave your friends and enemies astonished. Remember, strange favor is not a reward for perfection. It is a release of God's grace. It is his unmerited supernatural intervention that elevates the life of the faithful. Today, as we pray, as we declare, and as we position ourselves, strange favor will begin to manifest. It will exceed your expectations, overwhelm your obstacles, and accelerate your destiny. You will experience doors opening, situations turning, and help arriving from sources you never imagined. The God of favor is moving on your behalf, and nothing in this world can stop it. Receive this promise in your heart. Strange favor is your portion. Divine help is your companion. The universe is aligning for your success, and miracles will follow you like shadows. All you need to do is believe, position yourself, and expect the supernatural. Prayer is not merely a routine, a tradition, or a ritual. Prayer is the supernatural connection between the earthly and the heavenly. The point at which God chooses to intervene in human affairs. If you truly desire to experience strange favor and divine help, you must understand this. Prayer is the key that unlocks every door that seems closed, that activates every blessing that seems delayed, and that summons every intervention that appears impossible. There is power in prayer, not because of the words we say or the eloquence of our speech, but because prayer aligns our hearts with the will of God and positions us for divine action. Many people underestimate the power of prayer. They look at it as something optional or secondary, something to do when all else fails. But prayer is the most powerful force in the universe. Through prayer, mountains are moved. Through prayer, chains are broken. Through prayer, the impossible is made possible. Prayer is not just asking. It is partnering with God, inviting him to work in your circumstances and calling forth his favor in a way that defies natural explanation. When you pray with understanding, you engage with God's infinite power. Favor is not something you can manufacture or force. It is released by God when the heavens respond to the voice of the faithful. Every time you kneel, every time you lift your hands, every time you speak in faith, you are activating a spiritual law that governs the flow of divine blessings. Prayer turns the invisible into the visible. It makes the supernatural accessible to the natural. It is the channel through which favor flows. Obstacles are removed and doors open. You may ask, why do some people seem to receive answers immediately while others wait? The truth is, it is not about who is stronger or wiser. It is about faith, alignment, and persistence. Prayer works when it is consistent and intentional. It is not just about asking when life becomes difficult. It is about establishing a lifestyle of communion with God, where your heart is in constant alignment with his purpose. When you pray without ceasing, favor begins to move toward you. Divine help begins to manifest in ways that are subtle yet powerful, in ways that the human eye may not immediately see, but which will transform your destiny. Prayer also positions you to recognize and receive favor when it comes. Many blessings are missed because people are not spiritually awake or prepared. God's favor often arrives in forms we do not expect. It may come through a conversation, a new opportunity, a sudden promotion, a health breakthrough, or an unexpected connection. When you are in prayer, you are tuned to the frequency of heaven. You begin to perceive the hand of God moving around you. You become sensitive to the timing of divine intervention, able to seize opportunities that others overlook. Another important aspect of prayer is confession and declaration. Your words have power. When you declare God's promises over your life, you are not merely speaking into the air. You are speaking into existence the favor of heaven. Say it with me. God's favor surrounds me like a shield. Divine help attends me wherever I go. Supernatural opportunities align with my path. Doors that no man can open are opening for me now. These declarations are not empty words. They are prophetic commands that release the supernatural into your life. Prayer is also a battlefield. Every time you pray, you are engaging with spiritual forces that seek to hinder your progress. The moment you begin to pray for favor, you may encounter resistance. Obstacles, delays, doubts, and discouragement may rise. But know this, prayer is the weapon that defeats every hindrance. Persistent, focused, and faith-filled prayer breaks strongholds. It silences the enemy and clears the path for supernatural assistance. The heavens respond not to weakness, but to steadfast faith and unwavering belief. Understand that prayer is not only about what God can do for you, but also about your relationship with him. Favor flows to those who are aligned with God's purpose. When you seek his face, when you honor his ways, when your heart beats in sync with his will, the power of prayer multiplies. Favor does not just come as a temporary blessing. It comes as a sustaining, life-altering force that positions you in alignment with your destiny. Today, as you prepare to pray, recognize that the supernatural is available to you. Your voice matters. Your faith matters. Your prayers matter. Do not treat prayer as a last resort. Treat it as your first line of engagement with heaven. Understand that every heartfelt prayer is a seed that will produce a harvest of favor. Every groan of intercession is a key that unlocks divine doors. And every declaration is a spark that ignites God's power in your circumstances. I want you to believe this with every fiber of your being. When you pray with understanding, expectancy, and alignment, strange favor will be released and divine help will manifest. It may not happen according to your timing, but it will happen perfectly according to God's plan. Your life is about to shift. Your circumstances are about to change. The help you need is already on the way. Prayer is the catalyst, and you are the vessel. Heaven is responding. Faith is not a suggestion. It is the lifeblood of every supernatural encounter. If you desire strange favor and divine help, you must understand this fundamental truth. Faith is the catalyst that activates God's power. Favor does not come to the hesitant. Divine help does not visit the doubtful. And miracles do not manifest in the life of the unbeliever. Faith is not simply believing that God exists. It is trusting him to act on your behalf, even when circumstances scream otherwise. It is expecting the impossible, standing on his promises, and moving boldly into the realm of the supernatural. Many people pray, but their prayers fail to produce results because faith is missing. You can speak eloquently, you can intercede for hours, you can fast and give, but if faith is absent, the supernatural cannot respond. Faith is the bridge between your prayers and God's power. It is the spiritual fuel that causes heaven to respond, angels to move, and doors that were tightly closed to swing wide open. Without faith, prayer is merely activity. With faith, prayer becomes a launch pad for miracles. Faith is not blind optimism. It is a deliberate, confident trust in God's character and his promises. It is the assurance that no situation is too difficult, no obstacle is too great, and no enemy is too strong to overcome when God is on your side. Faith does not deny reality, it transcends it. It sees beyond the current circumstances and envisions the victory that God has already secured. When you operate in faith, you refuse to be bound by what you see, what you hear, or what you feel. You look to God and you declare, I am positioned for supernatural favor. Divine help is on its way. What is impossible for man is possible with God. The Bible is filled with examples of faith acting as a catalyst for favor. Think of Abraham, who believed against all hope and became the father of many nations. Think of David, a shepherd boy, whose faith enabled him to confront a giant with nothing but a sling and a stone. Think of the woman with the issue of blood, who believed that touching the hem of Jesus's garment would make her whole, and it did. These stories are not just history, they are principles for your life today. Faith positions you to receive what your effort alone cannot achieve. Faith opens the doors that seem permanently closed. Faith attracts divine help that surpasses human understanding. Faith also releases supernatural boldness. When you are walking by faith, you are no longer timid or passive. You begin to take steps that ordinary reasoning would not allow. You speak boldly into your situation, you declare God's promises over your life, and you move in expectancy, knowing that God is faithful to fulfill what he has spoken. The moment you exercise faith, you shift from being a passive recipient of life circumstances to an active participant in God's plan. Favor begins to follow you, and divine help starts to intervene in ways you never imagined. Many people fail to receive because their faith is weak. They pray once or twice and give up when the first sign of delay comes. But faith is persistent. Faith does not quit. Faith stands even when the storm rages. Faith trusts even when the enemy taunts. Faith believes even when every natural indicator points to failure. The power of faith lies in its endurance. When you refuse to be shaken, when you hold steadfast to your belief in God's promises, you trigger a supernatural response that cannot be stopped by man, circumstance, or time. Faith also activates alignment. Divine favor responds to those whose faith is paired with obedience. God honors those who trust him completely and walk in accordance with his word. When faith leads you to align your life with God's purposes, you position yourself to receive blessings that are not just ordinary, but extraordinary. Faith makes you sensitive to the opportunities God sends, ready to act on divine instructions, and receptive to the miraculous interventions that others may miss. Beloved, today you must make a choice. Will you rely on what you see, what you feel, or what you hear? Or will you rise above the natural and operate in unwavering faith? Favor and divine help are already on their way, but they are waiting for your faith to activate them. Faith is not passive, it is deliberate. It is not hesitant, it is confident. It is not ordinary, it is supernatural. When you move in faith, you step into the realm where God works wonders, where the impossible becomes possible, and where strange favor begins to manifest in your life. I want you to declare with me, I believe in God's promises. I trust him with my life. I expect divine favor. I receive supernatural help now. What is impossible for man is already possible for me. My faith activates miracles. My faith releases favor. And my faith positions me for divine intervention. Speak these words with conviction. Let them rise from your heart. Let them declare to heaven that you are ready for the supernatural. Faith is the catalyst, the spark, the invisible force that sets the wheels of God's power in motion. Today, as we pray and position ourselves, understand this: faith is your key, favor is your portion, and divine help is your inheritance. When you walk in faith, nothing can stop God from manifesting his power in your life. Strange favor will locate you. Doors that were closed will open, and divine help will meet you exactly where you are. Your faith is the engine. Your prayers are the fuel. And God's power is the unstoppable force that brings your breakthrough. Divine help is not a concept. It is a reality. It is not something we hope for. It is something that is available, accessible, and active in the life of the believer. Many people think that help from God is reserved for moments of crisis or for extraordinary circumstances. But the truth is that divine help is meant to be present in every area of your daily life. From the moment you wake up to the moment you lay your head down, God's assistance is available, guiding you, protecting you, and opening doors that no human effort can open. This help is practical, personal, and powerful. Understand this: divine help does not always come in ways that are loud or dramatic. Sometimes it comes subtly in the form of guidance, wisdom, or sudden insight. You may find the right words to speak in a critical conversation. You may encounter someone who unknowingly becomes the key to your next opportunity. You may receive a timely idea that propels your career or solves a problem that has been troubling you. These are examples of divine help moving in your daily life. It is the hand of God orchestrating circumstances in your favor, often before you even recognize the need. Divine help also manifests in protection. In a world filled with unseen challenges, obstacles, and attacks, God's help serves as a shield. It keeps you from accidents, misfortune, and unnecessary loss. Sometimes you may not understand why a situation took a turn or why a person did not succeed in harming you, but it is divine help at work. Angels are assigned to your life, guiding your steps, diverting danger, and positioning you in safety. This protection is part of God's help, his unseen intervention, ensuring that your life continues in progress. Another aspect of divine help is provision. Many struggle to understand that God is actively involved in providing for his children. Divine help is the sudden financial increase, the timely resources, the unexpected assistance that covers needs that human planning alone could not fulfill. It is why bills are paid just in time, why opportunities appear when there seems to be no way, and why doors open in ways that defy natural logic. When you position yourself in prayer, obedience, and expectancy, divine help becomes your partner in provision, working behind the scenes to meet your needs. Divine help is also relational. God's intervention often comes through people. He raises individuals who become mentors, partners, friends, or sponsors who contribute to your growth and success in ways that are supernatural. These encounters may seem coincidental, but they are divinely orchestrated. Each interaction, connection, and opportunity is God's help manifesting in a tangible way. The key is to recognize it, seize it, and use it to advance your purpose. Many people fail to experience divine help because they do not recognize its presence or they underestimate its power. Help does not always appear in the form of a miracle you can see immediately. Sometimes it is a quiet whisper, a nudge, or an inner prompting. It may come as wisdom to make the right decision, courage to face a challenge, or creativity to solve a problem. When you are sensitive to God's voice and aligned with his purposes, you will begin to notice divine help operating all around you. It is then that you understand nothing in your life is left to chance. Every move, every opportunity, every breakthrough is divinely directed. Divine help also transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary outcomes. It elevates your work, blesses your relationships, and accelerates your progress. The project you thought would fail suddenly succeeds. The conversation you thought would go poorly becomes a turning point. The person you thought would reject you becomes an instrument of favor. This is how God's help functions in daily life. It is not limited to emergencies. It is a continuous active force that positions you to thrive. Faith plays a critical role in accessing divine help. God cannot intervene in the life of someone who doubts or hesitates. Help is activated through prayer, expectation, and alignment with God's purposes. When you pray, declare, and position yourself, you open the door for assistance that surpasses human understanding. Divine help is not seasonal. It is available today, now, and continuously as you choose to walk in faith. Today, as you engage in prayer and position yourself for favor, recognize that divine help is already at work. It may come as sudden insight, a timely encounter, or an unexpected blessing. It may remove obstacles you never saw, connect you with people you never expected, or provide resources you never imagined. Every area of your life, health, finances, relationships, career, education, and personal growth, is subject to God's intervention. His help is active, intentional, and supernatural. I want you to declare now, divine help, locate me. Supernatural assistance, engage my life. Every area where I need favor, intervention, and breakthrough, let your hand move now. I receive guidance, provision, protection, and opportunities that exceed my imagination. I am positioned for miracles, and I am open to God's help in every moment of my life. Speak these words boldly and with expectation. The God who helped Joseph in the palace, Daniel in the foreign land, and Esther in the palace is ready to help you in your daily life. Divine help is not just for the future, it is for today. It is not passive, it is active. It is not temporary, it is continuous. Every step you take, every prayer you pray, every faithful act you perform positions you to receive assistance from heaven. Strange favor and divine help are intertwined. As you align yourself with God, as you pray with faith, as you believe in his promises, help begins to manifest and favor follows. Your life will never be the same again. Every believer desires favor, breakthrough, and divine intervention. But there is a truth you must grasp. Obstacles exist in every life, and until they are removed, your destiny cannot fully manifest. Obstacles come in many forms: spiritual, physical, emotional, relational, or financial. Some are obvious, glaring like mountains before you, while others are hidden, subtle, and silent, yet just as powerful in delaying your progress. The good news is that no obstacle is beyond the reach of God. Through prayer, faith, and alignment with his purpose, every hindrance can be dismantled, every barrier removed, and every limitation overcome. You must understand that some obstacles are not just natural, they are spiritual. They are attacks on your destiny, schemes designed to delay your breakthroughs, and strategies to keep you from your divine inheritance. These are battles that human effort alone cannot win. You cannot negotiate with them, you cannot reason with them, and you cannot fight them in your own strength. They require supernatural intervention, and this intervention is activated through prayer, fasting, and persistent faith. When you position yourself before God with humility and expectation, the chains that bind your progress are broken, and doors that seemed closed remain open. Obstacles also manifest as fear, doubt, and discouragement. These are internal barriers that can paralyze your faith. You may have a vision, a dream, or a calling, but fear whispers that it will never happen. Doubt tells you that you are not enough, and discouragement convinces you to give up. These are subtle but powerful hindrances that can prevent favor and divine help from manifesting. Prayer strengthens your heart, renews your mind, and restores confidence in God's promises. It allows you to see obstacles not as the end of your journey, but as opportunities for God to demonstrate his power and favor in your life. Sometimes obstacles are relational. People intentionally or unintentionally may block your progress. You may face rejection, betrayal, or opposition from those around you. Divine help is often what realigns these relationships, neutralizes enemies, and positions allies strategically in your favor. Prayer opens the way for reconciliation, divine intervention, and unexpected connections that advance your destiny. You will discover that some doors open not because of human effort, but because God removed the people or situations that were standing against you. Financial obstacles too are common. Debt, scarcity, and lack of resources can feel like immovable walls. Yet, when you call on God, his supernatural provision is released. The same God who multiplied resources for the widow of Zarephath, the feeding of the 5,000, and Joseph in prison, is ready to intervene in your financial circumstances. Your job, your business, your investments, or even unexpected gifts can become channels of provision once you pray and position yourself to receive. Divine help is intimately tied to the removal of limitations, and God is always able to provide more than enough for your needs. Health challenges often act as invisible obstacles. Illness, fatigue, or weakness can hinder your ability to function effectively. Yet divine help is not selective. It intervenes to restore, strengthen, and heal. When you pray, expect supernatural restoration. The body is the temple of God, and favor positions you to operate in peak capacity. Every obstacle that threatens your health can be neutralized by God's intervention, and his help often manifests in ways that are instantaneous, miraculous, or through the careful orchestration of resources, knowledge, and medical intervention. Obstacles are often opportunities in disguise. While they may appear to block you, their removal demonstrates God's power and establishes your testimony. Every delay, every closed door, every trial is a setup for a supernatural intervention. The enemy may try to confuse, delay, or discourage you, but God specializes in reversing every plan meant for harm. When you pray, believe, and declare God's promises, the obstacles begin to dissolve, walls crumble, chains break, enemies flee. What seemed impossible becomes possible. It is crucial to understand that the removal of obstacles is not always instantaneous, but it is always guaranteed. Sometimes God removes barriers through natural means. People change, opportunities arise, and solutions manifest. Other times it is purely supernatural. Open doors appear, favor locates you, and divine help intervenes in ways that are beyond human understanding. The key is persistence in prayer, unwavering faith, and an expectancy that God is already working on your behalf. Today, declare with your mouth and your heart that every obstacle in your life is removed by the power of God. Speak to your circumstances. Every hindrance to my destiny be removed. Every limitation be broken. Every enemy be silenced. Divine favor locate me. Supernatural help intervene now. I receive God's intervention in every area of my life. Let this declaration rise with authority. For the same God who removed obstacles for Joseph, Daniel, David, and Esther is at work in your life today. The removal of obstacles positions you for favor, for promotion, and for divine help. You are not meant to remain stuck, delayed, or hindered. God's power is sufficient to clear every path, and your breakthrough is inevitable. Your faith, your prayers, and your alignment with his purpose are the instruments that unlock this supernatural intervention. Today, as you engage in prayer and expectation, know this: every obstacle is being removed, every barrier is falling, and divine help is taking over your life. Favor is not random. Divine help does not simply fall upon people haphazardly. There is a principle at work. Favor is attracted to those who position themselves correctly before God. You cannot simply expect blessings to chase you while you remain passive, disobedient, or misaligned with God's purpose. There is a spiritual posture, a lifestyle, and a mindset that prepares you to receive supernatural favor. Positioning yourself is about aligning your heart, your actions, and your expectations with the will of God, so that his blessings, intervention, and favor flow unhindered into your life. First, positioning yourself for favor begins with your heart. God looks at the heart above all else. Your motives, desires, and intentions matter greatly. Favor does not rest on those who are selfish, prideful, or deceitful. It rests on those who honor God, who cultivate humility, and who operate with integrity. A heart aligned with God becomes a magnet for supernatural opportunities. Favor is not earned through manipulation, cleverness, or human effort. It is released upon those whose hearts are in sync with heaven. When you maintain a heart of gratitude, obedience, and trust, you create a spiritual environment where divine help can manifest. Your actions also determine your position. Faith without works is dead, and favor often responds to consistent, disciplined actions that demonstrate commitment and reliability. God favors those who honor him with their time, talents, and resources. Obedience opens doors that intellect alone cannot. Generosity attracts blessings that cannot be purchased. Persistence in your calling signals to heaven that you are ready for elevation. Every small step of faith, every act of service, every intentional effort aligns you with the flow of supernatural favor. The heavens respond to those who demonstrate that they are ready for the responsibility of advancement. Expectancy is another vital component of positioning. You must approach life with a mindset that anticipates God's intervention. Expecting favor does not mean you are arrogant. It means you trust that God's promises are active and effective. When you operate with expectancy, you begin to recognize and seize the opportunities that others overlook. You do not miss divine connections or delayed blessings because your heart is alert, your faith is active, and your spirit is receptive. Positioning yourself for favor requires a posture of readiness, an openness to receive, and a willingness to act when God's opportunities present themselves. Prayer is an essential part of positioning. When you pray, you are aligning yourself with God's purposes, inviting his intervention, and opening channels for supernatural help. Prayer cultivates sensitivity to God's timing and guidance. It strengthens your faith and deepens your connection with heaven. When you consistently communicate with God, your spirit becomes attuned to his instructions, your eyes open to hidden opportunities, and your steps are ordered according to his will. This is how positioning works. It is the deliberate act of synchronizing your life with God's plan so that favor flows naturally. Favor is also attracted to a lifestyle of integrity and moral excellence. God cannot release supernatural elevation to those who compromise their principles. Favor positions itself with those who are trustworthy, reliable, and consistent in their character. It is not about being perfect, but about cultivating a life that honors God in all things. How you speak, how you act, how you treat others, and how you conduct yourself when no one is watching. Integrity builds a spiritual foundation upon which favor can rest securely. Positioning yourself for favor also involves aligning your vision with God's purpose. Your goals, ambitions, and pursuits must reflect divine direction. When your desires coincide with heaven's agenda, God accelerates your progress. Favor follows purpose, and divine help attends clarity. You cannot be positioned for elevation if your vision is misaligned or if your motives are solely personal. God's help flows where his purpose is honored. When you submit your plans, ambitions, and efforts to him, you place yourself in the exact coordinates where strange favor can locate you. Beloved, positioning is both internal and external. Internally, it is faith, obedience, gratitude, humility, and alignment with God's word. Externally, it is action, consistency, preparation, and readiness to seize every opportunity. Both work together to create a life that supernatural favor can inhabit. When you combine a receptive heart with deliberate action and unwavering faith, you become like a vessel ready to contain God's supernatural blessings. Divine help will find you. Doors that were closed will open. Opportunities that seemed impossible will become reality. Today, declare with confidence, I position myself for God's favor. I align my heart with his purposes. I act with integrity, obedience, and faith. I am ready for supernatural help, divine intervention, and strange favor. Every door that heaven has prepared for me, I am ready to walk through it. Every opportunity aligned with my destiny, I will recognize and seize it. My life is positioned for elevation, my steps are ordered, and my heart is open to receive God's abundance. Speak these words boldly, for positioning yourself is not passive. It is deliberate, intentional, and powerful. Favor does not chase the unprepared. Divine help does not attend the unready. When you intentionally align your heart, actions, and mindset with God, you position yourself in the path of supernatural blessings. Today is your moment to be strategically placed for breakthroughs, divine encounters, and elevation beyond human understanding. Strange favor is looking for you, and God's hand is waiting to intervene on your behalf. Position yourself rightly, and you will never be missed by heaven. There is something powerful about testimonies. There is something supernatural about the recounting of God's intervention in the life of a believer. Testimonies are not just stories. They are living proofs that God moves, that divine help is real, and that strange favor is active in the lives of those who trust him. When you hear of miracles, breakthroughs, and divine elevation, you are not simply inspired. You are awakened to the reality that heaven can move on your behalf. Testimonies create expectation, ignite faith, and build the certainty that God is faithful. They remind us that what God has done for one, he can do for another. Consider the many instances in scripture where miraculous interventions changed the course of history. Joseph, from the pit to the palace, is a testimony of favor that no human effort could achieve. His brothers meant it for evil, but God turned it for good. Every setback, every betrayal, every period of waiting became a setup for divine elevation. Daniel in the lion's den, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. These testimonies reveal a supernatural God who intervenes on behalf of the faithful, even in situations that seem impossible. Their lives are proof that favor is not based on circumstance, but on divine alignment and trust in God. In daily life, testimonies of miraculous intervention are everywhere. A person struggling with finances may experience a sudden, unexplainable increase, perhaps through a gift, a promotion, or an opportunity that seemed to appear out of nowhere. A person facing relational challenges may find reconciliation at the exact moment they needed it most. A student may suddenly grasp a concept they could not understand for months, leading to success in exams or projects. These are all examples of divine help manifesting, moving silently but powerfully to elevate those positioned for favor. Testimonies also serve as encouragement for those in waiting. Sometimes the delay can feel unbearable. Sometimes doors remain closed longer than expected, and the heart begins to grow weary. But when you hear of the miraculous, it ignites hope and strengthens faith. You begin to understand that timing is not random, that God is orchestrating every detail, and that your breakthrough is not only possible but imminent. Testimonies remind us that the power of God is limitless and that he is always on time, often in ways that exceed human expectation. The beauty of divine intervention is that it often arrives in ways that are unexpected and unexplainable. People may say it's impossible, it's luck, or it's coincidence. But those who believe recognize it as supernatural. The person who suddenly receives a life-changing opportunity, the parent who experiences healing for their child, the professional who is promoted in a season when advancement seemed unlikely. All these are examples of God moving beyond natural expectation. Testimonies like these are not merely motivational. They are proof that heaven is active and that God's help is available for anyone who positions themselves through prayer, faith, and obedience. Miraculous interventions also validate God's promises. Every testimony points to a reality that God fulfills what he has spoken. When someone who was at the edge of despair experiences a sudden turnaround, it confirms that God's favor is not selective, that divine help is not temporary, and that his power is unwavering. The testimony becomes a light for others, showing that no situation is too difficult, no obstacle too formidable, and no enemy too strong for God to intervene. Each miraculous story is a declaration that heaven is not silent and that God's hand is ever present in the affairs of those who trust him. Testimonies encourage boldness in prayer. When you hear of God intervening in ways you cannot explain, it fuels your expectation. You pray with greater confidence, you believe with greater intensity, and you act with greater boldness. Miracles inspire faith, and faith activates more miracles. When you understand that God has the power to move in any situation, you begin to live a life of expectation rather than fear, of trust rather than doubt, and of victory rather than stagnation. Today, I want you to believe that your testimony is already being written. Every moment of waiting, every act of obedience, every prayer uttered in faith is positioning you for your own miraculous intervention. Divine help is on its way. Strange favor is searching for your life, and God's hand is ready to move in ways that will leave your friends, family, and even your enemies astonished. As you engage in prayer today, visualize the breakthroughs, the sudden interventions, and the miraculous solutions that will soon manifest. Declare, God, let my life be a testimony of your supernatural favor. Let every area of my life experience divine intervention. Let my breakthrough be so evident that it glorifies you. I receive help, elevation, and miracles. Now, testimonies remind us that God is not limited by circumstances, time, or human understanding. They teach us that faith works, that prayer is powerful, and that favor is real. Your testimony may not have been revealed yet, but it is already in motion. Every obstacle that seemed insurmountable, every delay that seemed endless, and every situation that appeared hopeless is being overturned by divine power. Miracles are real. Favor is tangible. Help is supernatural. Your testimony is coming, and it will inspire, bless, and transform not only your life, but the lives of those around you. Beloved, as we come to the close of this time together, I want you to understand something. Your breakthrough is not by chance. It is by divine design. Every prayer you have lifted, every act of faith, every alignment with God's purpose has positioned you for strange favor and supernatural help. The God who removes obstacles who elevates the humble, and who intervenes where no human help exists, is already moving on your behalf. Nothing can stop what heaven has ordained for your life. Remember that favor follows the prepared, divine help locates the faithful, and miracles are for those who believe. The testimonies we have reflected on are not merely stories. They are confirmations of God's unchanging power. If he has done it for one, he can do it for you. If he has opened doors in the lives of others, he can swing wide doors for your life. Your circumstances may have seemed immovable, but divine intervention is breaking in. Your obstacles may have appeared insurmountable, but the hand of God is dismantling every barrier. As you leave this place in prayer and expectation, carry this truth with you. Strange favor is on your trail. Divine help is attending your every step, and your life is positioned for elevation beyond imagination. Speak life into your destiny, declare your faith boldly, and watch as heaven responds in ways that will shock your friends, surprise your enemies, and confirm to you that God is faithful. Today, tomorrow, and forever, favor and divine help are yours. Receive it, believe it, and step into the manifestation of your miracles. Go forth with expectancy. Go forth with faith. Go forth with the understanding that your life is a living testimony of God's supernatural favor, divine help, and miraculous intervention. Every step you take from this moment is guided. Every door you encounter will open, and every challenge will turn into a testimony of his glory. Your season of breakthrough has come, and it will not pass you by.